Good morning. It's Tuesday, October 14th, and here's everything you may have missed in business and finance yesterday. After a brutal sell-off on Friday, Wall Street came roaring back to life yesterday. Investors were in full buy the dip mode after President Trump struck a softer tone on his tariff threats towards China, saying relations will all be fine, which was apparently all the markets needed to hear. The Dow jumped almost 1.3%, the S&P 500 climbed over 1.5%, and the Nasdaq led the charge, soaring over 2.2%. Clear takeaway here is that markets remain hypersensitive to every headline out of Washington and Beijing, and when trade tensions cool, buyers come rushing back in. Speaking of buyers, the real action was in the semiconductor space yesterday. Broadcom was the star of the session, surging nearly 10% after announcing a blockbuster deal with OpenAI to co-develop 10 gigawatts of custom AI chips starting next year. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, didn't OpenAI just sign deals with Oracle, NVIDIA, and AMD? Yes, you are right. This is yet another move in OpenAI's global chip power grab. The partnership positions Broadcom as a key player in the next wave of AI infrastructure with its custom XPU chips at the center of the boom. That excitement spilled across the sector. NVIDIA, AMD, and the entire Philadelphia Semiconductor Index jumped nearly 5%. But not all headlines were as uplifting. Over in the private credit sector, the bankruptcies of First Brands and Tricolor, both companies tied to the auto sector, are stoking new fears about hidden risks in the credit markets. Bond markets were closed yesterday, but it's worth noting that the 30-year Treasury yield touched its lowest level since April's trade shock or Liberation Day, even as the U.S. dollar firmed up a bit. In commodities, gold hit yet another record high, topping $4,179 per ounce, as investors sought safe havens amid trade uncertainty and government shutdown worries. Oil slipped to its lowest level since May, reflecting concerns about slowing demand, while Bitcoin continued its sharp retreat, now down over $10,000 from its October 6th peak. Overseas, President Trump made a surprise diplomatic splash, arriving in Israel to a hero's welcome after brokering what he called the historic dawn of a new Middle East. The ceasefire deal President Trump helped negotiate has drawn praise across the region. Elsewhere, SpaceX successfully launched and landed its 11th Starship rocket, the last test before it begins prepping for lunar and Mars missions. Looking ahead to today, investors are bracing for comments from Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, who's set to deliver a keynote speech at a conference today in Philadelphia. Now, trade optimism was tempered a bit yesterday as the U.S. and China imposed new port fees on shipping companies. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said there's still hope to avoid the 100% tariffs that are set to begin on November 1st, hinting that a meeting between both President Trump and President Xi could still happen soon. I will note futures are down this morning after China placed sanctions on 5 U.S.-linked units of a South Korean shipbuilding firm, effectively barring Chinese companies from doing business with them. And these recent actions from China represent another escalation. With earnings from 25 companies today, trade tensions, and a speech from Jerome Powell, it will definitely be an interesting day in the market.